to my beautiful viewers. How are you doing today? I'm so happy to be here, and I'm sure you're happy to receive me as well. Yes, it's Talk to Be, baby. Gay, gay. It's Talk to Be. It's time to invite your friends, invite your family, invite your neighbors to come see Talk to Be with you. It's not just to entertain you, but also to teach you something. I am Abiola Adebayo, but feel free to call me Dr. B. Yes, that's who I am. Today I have a guest in the studio with me who has an amazing story. It's been a journey for her, really. Listening to her story, sometimes I ask this particular questions that is it life? Is it God? Some people get favored all through the journey of their lives. Some people have to struggle to achieve things. Some will not even get anything at the end of the day. But in all of it, God is still God, right? Before I introduce my guest, let me ask you, have you been seeing my movies? Have you seen Mrs. Branch? Oh, please scroll down this channel, go and see it. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel as well, please do. Don't be a stranger in the house, all right? Before I go, please note that all views and opinions expressed on this show are solely that of my guests. They are not of me, neither are they of Talk to Be. I'll be right back after this short break. Don't go away.
Talk to be, share your experience.
Do you need a change of scenery? Are you a tourist or based in Lagos and its environs? Discover New Genesis Royal Apartments now at Magodo, Lagos. Our accommodation options include single studio rooms, 1-bedroom flat apartment, 2-bedroom flat apartment, 3-bedroom flat apartment, 4 and 5-bedroom flat apartment. They are all capacious. All rooms are well equipped with Super King bed size, fully air conditioned, water heater with fully fitted kitchens in all apartments, and security personnel on guard 24/7. Uninterrupted power supply, unlimited access to speedy Wi-Fi, local and international TV stations on 4K Smart TV, free laundry service, snooker board, and well-trained housekeepers are on standby. New Genesis Real Apartment is conveniently located at number 1 Fatai Oduniji Street by CMD Road, close to Otedola Underbridge, Magodo, Lagos. For further inquiries, please call or WhatsApp on +2347 0476 00081 +2347 0476 00086 and +2347 0477 27840. Visit us on our website at www.newgenesisroyalapartment. At New Genesis Royal Apartment, we redefine hospitality to foster emotional connections.
Thank you for staying tuned. In case you're just joining, you're watching Talk to Be. Like I said earlier, I have my guest in the studio with me. She is a beautiful woman, an author. She is a businesswoman, an HR manager. She's somebody that has an interesting story that would teach you something. So join me as I welcome my guest today. How are you doing, ma'am?
Very well. So good to be here.
My pleasure. By the way, you look so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. You look beautiful as well.
Let me take like 1 minute to blush.
It's allowed.
All right. Let's get to meet you. Who are beyond my own little introduction? Who are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
Okay, my name is Oyenike Oluwaseyi Adebiyi.
Okay.
I am from Ogun State.
Okay.
I am a graduate of business administration
Okay.
and I also have my master's in management.
Okay.
Okay, I have a daughter.
Okay.
Her name is Oluwadara Simi now. And well, What else?
Uh,
Okay. At the moment,
mm,
I run a small business
okay.
and I live in Ibadan.
Ibadan.
Yes,
Oh, you
yes.
came all the way from Ibadan.
Yes, I did.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, let's get to your story. But let's start by taking it from your childhood. What was it like for you?
Ooh, wow. It's been fine. I grew up in Badagry. I'm
Oh,
from a family of five.
okay.
My late mom was a nurse, and my dad,
God bless her
quantity
soul.
surveyor. Both are passed now.
Wow.
And
So we're in the same classroom.
wow, so I grew up in Badagry, and that was when my parents were working.
Okay.
So at age 10, I started noticing pain in my leg, but I didn't understand what it was because I was young. I was in GSS 1,
Hmm.
and it just came like a normal pain, cramps, and all. And my mom, as a nurse, would administer medications and I would be fine.
Hmm.
So it kept like that on and on up until age 16.
Like 6 years
Yeah,
after.
6 years after, I didn't know it has affected, that affected my posture. I was fear. I get it was fear. I don't want to put so much weight on the leg, and
Hmm.
because of the pain, so I didn't know it was affecting my posture. Not until one morning, my dad had dropped us in school, and I was walking towards the assembly ground, and I just started hearing my name. The juniors were just calling, Stanike, dad is calling you. And I looked back and I saw my dad. And I was like, when did this start? Shakolele, why are you walking like this? And
You didn't even notice.
I didn't. I was like, I was so embarrassed because there were students there. And I just said, this is not good. And I said, okay. And I went back to the assembly. So when I got to the classroom, I
Please
spoke with
explain
my,
that bit to people, especially people who don't understand Yoruba, what he meant and then
okay,
how he said it.
is this fashion? Why are
Okay.
you walking like this? When did this start?
Start.
It's pick out that, maybe he just took note at that time,
How
and
you were
how
walking.
I was walking. Like
Your posture
apparently
has
maybe I was
changed.
limping and
Mm.
maybe I was bent to one side,
Okay.
and it felt like, is this fashion or when did this
Mm.
start?
Mm.
Maybe he hadn't taken notes
Notes.
before. So I was embarrassed, but at the same time I was confused because I didn't know I
Mm.
was walking like that. So when
Mm.
I got to the classroom, just in secondary school, you have a seatmate. So I tapped my seatmate, Laide Yusuf. I said, Laide, please, can you describe the way I
I
walk?
walk.
She said, Nike, why are you asking me? I said, just show me. She said, you don't know the way you walk. I said, just show me. This also just happened. Daddy dropped me and he said this. She said, are you sure you won't be offended? I said, is it that bad? She said, okay. Secondary school, so she got up and, she did the walk. I opened my mouth. I was like, this is the way I walk. She said,
Hmm.
you don't know. So nobody can tell you because we know you're always in pain. So if we don't want it to look like maybe we're making jest of you or something. But I'm surprised you don't know how you work. And I told her that daddy just said this and she said, oh, it's fine. For the whole of that day, I
Hmm.
didn't leave the classroom. I didn't even go
Hmm.
for a short break. I did for a long break. And when it was time for lesson, it took a while. I was very cautious. I was working at a snail pace, you know. So when I go back home and he returned from work and said, Nike, what's happening and all that? So my mom now said, have you not noticed? I said, don't do. It's the leg that is paining her. Apparently, that was why. Maybe she's afraid to put weight on the leg. And I've always been a plus size when I was young. So she
Hmm.
said that maybe she's afraid to put weight on the leg and all that. So, and that was it. So after that, my dad never said anything about it.
Hmm.
And all through there will be times of several crises like someone that has sickle cell anemia.
I
It
wanted
was
to
really, really
ask,
bad.
do you have sickle cell disease or SC or anything?
No, I don't. I
You are not a
don't.
sickle cell patient.
I am not.
Okay.
I'm not. It's just the leg. And as at that time, it wasn't defined. Nobody knew what it was because it was like romanticism, a
Oh, okay.
typical pain in my leg,
Leg.
and all that. So,
One leg or
one leg, just one
both?
leg, my
Okay.
left leg. Okay, so after I finished secondary school, while I was waiting to get my results, my mom said, okay, as a lady, as a girl, she wanted us to have a vocation. I have an elder sister. At that time, she was in the fashion school as well, while she waited for her results. So she enrolled me in a beauty school, Shirley Beauty School of Cosmetology.
Okay.
So I got enrolled there, and it was okay. That was my first time of leaving the house. My mom was with me. She got me an apartment, so she stayed for a while before she returned home, and that was how I started life like alone after the outside the house. So I remember this wonderful day. I think I had my practicals, and I wanted to go and attend to someone. Maybe it was retouching or braids. I can't say. And I slipped and fell. So I got up. It was difficult, but I got up, and my papa just walked up to me and said, "Sheye, that's my second name. Sheye, you're a very intelligent girl. Do not allow your legs to be an hindrance to whatever it is you'll be in future." Now that was the first person that would tell me that outside of home. So when she said that, I appreciated it. I held on to it. Shortly after, I took Hill and I had to be taken home. And then I was admitted. As at that time, it was still not diagnosed what the problem was.
Was.
So after a while, I got better and I returned. And I finished my course and I finished well. And then while I was there, I wrote Polyjam. It was Polyjam of those days. I wrote Polyjam and I got admission into Fed Poly Laro to study business studies. Okay, so that was 97. So I joined in 98 to resume school, and I remember there was a day I was coming from, I think, tutorial, and I fell again. So people around aided me. I got up and like, what's happening? So that was how I just started. So I was taken to the sick bay, from there to the hospital, and at some point the nurses told my elder sister to take me back home. That it was beyond what they could handle in school. So I was taken back home. That's to Badagry, and it was really bad. So the first point of admission was my mom's hospital, Badagry General Hospital. I was admitted there for a while. And then when they noticed that the pain was just unbearable, so I had to refer me to General Hospital, Lagos Island. Okay, so while I was being taken there, all I was just telling God, God, please let them know what is wrong with me. Because I know something is wrong. The pain is much, but I really could not pinpoint what the pain was. So I was just saying, God, please show them, let the doctors know what was wrong with me. So my dad wheeled me. I was on the wheelchair. My dad wheeled me. And when I got to the consulting room, I can remember very well, there were three orthopedic doctors at that point, Dr. Shitu, Dr. Dewale, and Dr. Lakitu. So they asked a lot of questions. They asked my parents. They asked a lot of questions around sickle cell, you know, and to the glory of God at that time, because it was an escape, the doctor said, no, 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 no. The problem is not from the knee. We need to do a pelvic scan. Let's know what is happening. It might probably be a referred pain from somewhere. And that was what gave us the light into it. So I had the x-ray done, and it was diagnosed that I have AVN, that's avascular necrosis osteoarthritis on my left leg.
Big English. God I beg.
When I heard it was big. It was a big
understand.
word. So my mom said, okay, she's a nurse, okay, maybe she understood. So I asked, what does it mean? Okay, so the shortest explanation was that is shortage of blood supply to the head of the joint. So they said, okay, they need to check what was happening. So they wanted to rule out everything. So when the results came out and my genotype was AA, the doctor said, no, it's not possible. So they took another sample, went to the lab themselves, stood there to be sure. So they returned with the same results, and they said, we don't understand what's happening here. So I said, okay, so let's treat her. So the first thing, maybe they told her about surgery, but she said, no, she's still young. Then I was 18. So she said that, no. So the doctor said, okay, the first thing is to put her on traction. Okay, traction is they wrap a bandage around your leg, the leg that's paining you. They attach it to like a weight of probably 5 kg, 7 kg thereabouts, and then they suspend your bed. So your head can be this high and your leg this low. So I was like that in that position for 2 months. I didn't get out of the bed. I was just there. So that was my first traction, because I've had several after that time. That was my first traction, and it was really, really bad. It was very bad. nightmare, so much pain. But thanks to my mom, she was with me all through. And after 2 months, I was discharged and I had to learn to walk again. So I had to go from walker to crutches, and then I was discharged and I went back home. At that time, I had deferred my semester because I was already in Fed Poly Laro. I deferred my semester, and I had said I was going to do it again. So after I got better, I returned back to school and I did my second semester. That's ND1 second semester. It went very well and I did well. Okay, so then we returned home. So when we resumed for another session, I was meant to do the third semester. So I went back, and few weeks into lecture, I took it again and they took me home. And my mom said, no way, no school again for you. She wasn't even ready to dialogue. She wasn't ready to negotiate. Said no school. So they had to, start taking care of me. So I was home for a year, and that was really bad because it was like putting me in a cage. Because I missed the three of us. I am the jovial one. I'm the one that always run around. So having to put me in a place was a big deal for me at that time. But thanks to my family, the love was there, the care was there. But right inside of me, I knew I wanted to do more. That I was always at home. So I was so glued to the TV. It was then AIT. And back to back, I would just be there listening, watching. And while I was doing that, I think the first escape route was writing because I love to write. So I started writing. So I wrote a small piece on beauty and health, and my parents launched it for me my 19th birthday. And they said they wanted to set up a salon for me, got me my equipment so I could start my salon. They got it quite well, but I wasn't just into it. So I kept telling my mom that no way, mom, no, sorry. So I kept telling my mom, no way, I want to go back to school. And she was like, there is no negotiation here. After about a few months, I was able to cardio her, and then I took uni jam so I could go back to school. So one of the doctors saw me, I think with the form, and then went to my mom. I said, Matron, don't tell me you want to take Nika wants to go back to school. And she was like, I've been telling her she's not, buying into it and all that. The doctor said, no way. The stress will be too much for her. She can't do it. She won't be able to cope and all that. I felt so bad because that was what stopped the whole thing. So it was now very bad. Like I had tried, and then someone was saying I can't. So but my mom tried to make it look good. She kept telling me that it's not always about school. Fine, they're educated, but she said that like she always said that even people selling pepper will be fine. Like whatever it is you do, God blesses the work of your hand and all that. But you need to be conscious of your health. So it's because we love you. That's why we are doing it. So I understand that they were taking it from the place of love. But for me, I didn't understand what that kind of love was at that month, at that particular time, because some of my friends were already in their third year, so when they come home like that, we'll talk and I'll feel like, naked, no, this is not it. So after a while, I became very, conversant with the church. So I was doing a lot of church programs. So I just decided to pray about it. So there was this brother then that we would agree together. He would just ask me, okay, what do you want? He said, I want to go back to school. And he said, okay, let's agree. Let's agree that mommy will allow you to go, So we did that for a while. And then coincidentally, I just heard that Lagos State had just started part-time program at that time. And we would be the second set. So I went back to my mom. I was like, I was so happy. And I was like, Mommy, see, there's a way out. There's a way out. And she was just looking at me. I said, there's a way out. Now there's part-time. Mommy, I don't have to stress myself. I can do it and all that. She said, no, the stress will still be too much for you. But after a while, fast forward, she agreed. And she said, okay. And she gave me lots of conditions. I said, no problem. I will obey. I will obey. I want to go to school. And then, so that was how I started. I went to LASU. And I remember that after my registration, when I was very close to the hall, I saw some students, they gathered, and they were just talking, and they were saying that, this department is difficult to have first class, so it's difficult to do this. That just slipped into my ears. And I just told myself that if in the whole of the faculty, one person will be the one that will have the first class, to be me. So that's what I told myself. I said, that will be me. And I think I just started like that, and that was it. I put in all the best. Now, between my 100 level and the final level, I had several moments where I'll be sick and I'll be taken back home. But I didn't give up. I kept at it. And then my final semester in school, I was ill again. This time it was really bad. So I was taken to Gobi and I was admitted again and I was put on traction, another traction. And it was looking like I wasn't going to finish. At that time, my CGP was already 4.6. And it was looking like, so some of my lecturers, they were familiar with me, my mentor, Professor Lee, Professor Tokiti then, and all of them, they said, no, if we don't allow Nike to do this semester, she's not going to make that first class because it will affect her CGP. So God just took control, and then they waited for a while. So, and then the school agreed, and then after I was discharged, I went to write the exam. I finished to my set, and to the glory of God, I made the first class. Yes, I did. I did. And I was the only first class in the department at that moment, in the faculty. And for me, that was a big one. And I told myself that, okay, I patted myself and I said, Nikki, I think you did well. In spite of everything, I did well. Now, shortly before that, I was poached by one of my lecturers, so I would do tutorials for people. There were people doing their masters at that time, so I would do tutorials for them in all the campuses, Lagos State campuses, Jibowu, Anthony, Ikoyi, Agege, like that. I will run tests. I will do a lot of I'll collapse their textbook and then make it easy for them. So after I finished, I took it again. And then I was told that I went to Gobi for my checkup, and my doctor said, Nike is an Igbo doctor. He was an Igbo Igbo man. Said, Kehinde, that's my middle name. He said, if you want to be able to work for the rest of your life, you need to go for a surgery ASAP. And I stayed there. I looked at him like this. Surgery, I don't understand. ASAP, what kind of surgery and all that. So he said I need a total hip replacement.
You were limping.
I was still limping, because fast forward, they had it was very obvious. There was visible difference, and at some point they had placed me on track on Surgeries, and that was quite emotional, very psychological. There were moments that I would be walking in the campus, and students some would tap me, sister, your shoe is bad, and I would just look at them like this, and I will respond, it's not my shoe, it's my leg. For the school environment, some will laugh at it, some will say, hey, yeah, drill and all that. So that was there. So he said that there's visible difference, and it's obvious that, the damage is much. That's so they need to take it out. Now, telling me at that time, I just graduated. I had not started working. My parents are just retired, and they are just moved from from Badagry to Ibadan. So in my head, I didn't even know where to get the money. I don't know what to do. But the doctor just gave me a little bit of preamble. You can do it here, you can do it in India, depending on what you want or what your parents want. And I said, okay, fine. But when I get home, I'll discuss with my parents. But it was so big because at that time there was no hope. It was quite big. But somehow what worked for me was the students that I was tutoring, the master students. My mentor mentioned to them that, oh, your teacher is sick, oh, she needs to do surgery, and just got an account number, I wrote it on the board, and that was it. Wow. And we just started getting funds, and before we could say Jack Robinson, we had the funds for the surgery. And coupled with my family support, then I had to travel, so I traveled to India for the surgery.
What year was that?
That was 2006. That same year that I finished. That was the year. So I traveled in July to India for a total hip replacement. And the surgery was done on the 22nd of July, 2006. It was a tough one But after the surgery, I was happy, and the doctor told me a lot of things, gave me a lot of rules. Don't do this, don't do that. There was so much. But I was excited, I had hope. I was hopeful. I felt like, oh, thank God. So this is soft now. My leg is equal. Then I can do a lot of things. I can wear normal slippers like everybody. I can go without people telling me my shoe is bad and all that. So when I returned home, I started a small welcome party, welcome to a new life. And I remember my dad telling me, I hope you dropped all the pain inside the Red Sea, you know, that you moved from Africa to Asia, so you must have dropped inside the Red Sea, while he was joking. So with that kind of introduction and reception, I was vibrant, I was hopeful. I had a lot of dreams, I had a lot of things I wanted to do, and I wasn't seeing my health as an issue. Okay, so afterwards, I got a job and I was working in a Koi. But some months into that, over the night, I just felt a sharp pain in my lower back, radiating to my left leg. So the first thing I did was, I remembered what my doctor had told me in India. So I tried to raise the leg up to ensure that the implant was intact. I could do it, but it was painful. But I did it. So I was taken to the hospital, several hospitals, and then eventually taken back to Bobi. Okay. So the doctor asked me then that you know what was happening, and I told him that I was just having a sharp pain from my back. But I don't know. He When he heard that I went to do the surgery in India, there was an issue. So he said, no way. That, oh, they've done rubbish in your body, you know, and he was asking me what the problem was. And I was telling him the way I was feeling. And I was like, what did they do? What kind of implants did they put in me? And I answered him. I gave him all the answer, but he just felt that it wasn't the doctor that referred me. It was another doctor. So he just kept saying, they've done rubbish in your body and your back here. That was what it was. So he told them that, go and put on traction back.
How?
And I shouted, just like you just did. I shouted, I said, doctor, it's not my leg. Don't put me on traction again. Because I've had it twice. I said, no, not traction. Not traction. My implant is fine. He said, okay, if you know so much, then you can leave. So the people that took me there said, Dike, why you keep quiet and let them treat you? I said, I know what I'm saying. You can't pull this leg again. But the doctor said, you have to. That is what is going to solve it. And I had to.
Does he have a problem with you going to India?
I think at that time, there were issues like that. Maybe they felt that maybe there was a problem with patients living in Nigeria and going to do surgery in
Oh.
India. I wouldn't know what the exact issue was, but the way he responded, and that was what I saw. But because I didn't want to sound like I know too
Too
much,
much.
so I kept quiet, and that was very hard on me because it was a nightmare all through. You can imagine that the leg that already has an implant is being pulled again, and I was there for 2 months. It was tough. It was bad. And every day I would cry and cry. I was trying to see if I could get through to my main doctor. He was not around. It took a while, but eventually I got through. So he communicated with the other doctor in India, and I said, no traction, no traction, let them drop it. But the way it is, once they put you on traction, their own rule, they won't drop it up till it is 6 weeks minimum.
Oh.
So they kept me like that until I waited till their own timing, and then they dropped the leg, and it was a big one. Then I raised some funds and I traveled back to India.
Again.
So when I got to India, I said there was nothing wrong with my leg, but there is a problem with my spine. And the doctor said that if you want to be able to walk, you need to attend to this because this is a spinal issue now. And he was really furious, but then he said, okay, the deed has been done. So I asked, so what do I do from here? And I was too young, very young at that moment as well. So he said that the definitive thing will be surgery, but before then we can have different treatments. Okay, so they started with the spinal injection. It was bad. So that was really bad. They gave me that injection without sedating me. It was really bad in that theater. It was really, really bad. And what the doctor would just tell me is, oh, you need care, you need care. I need you to be calm. I don't want to put the needle on the wrong nerves. That's
Ew.
why I am not sedating you. I need to speak with you as I walk. And that was very painful, very painful. But I withstood it like those ones of the past, and eventually I was moved to the world and I came back to Nigeria. After a while, I got a job in a bank and I started working, and everything was
You were
okay.
walking fine
Very fine,
afterwards.
very fine. Well, I had to manage my back, I had to take medications, I had to do physiotherapy, a lot of things, but I was working. So, what I was doing there was I would plan ahead. Every year, I will return back to India and I'll go for the same treatment. After that was the radio frequency. That was bad. They passed an electric into my spine to burn the nerve. I was crazy. So I've had several sessions like that, and up until 2013. So in 2013, I got married, and some months after I took in, so after I conceived, I couldn't really stress myself again. I couldn't combine banking with my health, marriage, and pregnancy. And throughout that time, I was mostly the on bed rest. So I had to resign. You know, very very good supervisors. They were very understanding, and all that. A lot of people supported me, and that was how. And then I was also very active in church, so my church was very supportive. My unit in church, they were all supportive. I had that support system, right? So I left, and it was while I was pregnant I lost my dad, and after that I would go back and back to the hospital because of my baby. And there were several times where the doctors wanted to evacuate my baby, several times, from 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. And they would say that the drug they were giving me was going to spoil the brain of my baby, and they needed to evacuate her.
Ooh.
And I said, no, you won't evacuate this one. So I ran on the word, Romans 8:11, that if the spirit that raised Jesus Christ from the dead dwells in my
My
mortal
mortal
body,
body.
it will raise Christ from the dead, will quicken my
My
mortal
mortal
body. So
body.
that was my word. And anytime I say those words, I'll feel a nudge inside of me, my baby will respond. So I kept telling them we will be fine. I didn't know what I was doing, but I held on to the word of God. And that was how we managed to. It was tough. I was moved from one hospital to the other. I used several hospitals, but eventually at 29, 30 weeks, I had to be, it was really bad. So they discovered that the fetal heart at that time was weak. I was not allowed to leave the hospital again. And then on this wonderful day, I couldn't sleep all through the night. And when the matron came on board in the morning, the next morning, and they said my baby's fetal heart was weak, and they let's take her out. At that time, it wasn't a time, and they just asking me if I had money, if I could do all that and all that. So I called my family members, my sister, she was there, my younger brother, and one way or the other, they had to come and move me. They moved me from the hospital to another hospital. So she moved me to about, at that particular time, about like three hospitals. I was in a lot of pain, but all I was just doing was just to read the Bible verse I could mutter at that time. And she was just trying to check which hospital can take us, will have incubator, and also can manage me in case I go unconscious or something. So she did that, and we landed at Lagoon. It was really tough. There were a lot of backstories and all that. And we landed at Lagoon, and then Lagoon said they needed to bring my baby out. It wasn't yet time, but said they need to bring her out. That fetal heart was weak, and I wasn't strong again. I was getting very weak. I was already bloated, and I wasn't looking good. So I said, okay, how do we get the funds? That was another story, because the requirement was quite much at that time. But God came through, and I was moved into the theater and they brought out my baby. She was 1.6 kg, fighting for her life, and I also was fighting for mine. So I didn't get to see her until 5 days after I had her. And then I was wheeled to where she was, and I looked at her. She was like a cockroach in
Hmm.
incubator, very tiny. And I was crying, and the nurse there in the neonatal ward said, "Madam, you're not supposed to be crying. No. You're
Hmm.
supposed to be thanking God, that God sustained you, both of you, and all that." So from there, we stayed at the hospital for weeks, and eventually were discharged home. We spent a whole lot. It wasn't like I had the funds, but God came through for me. So we went back, and that was the beginning of another life, because now I had to manage pain and I had to take care of my
My
baby.
baby.
There were many nights that I would be taken to the hospital, I would be breastfeeding my baby, and by the time I open my eyes, she's on the floor. I can't count how many times she dropped. I'll just look at her like this. I'll carry her again, and that was the way it was. But she has been a fighter, and I believe that God wanted her to be with me, and that was why God kept her. And up until now, she's been my source of strength. So we have been going through a lot, and that was 2014. And then in 2016, I went back to do my master's in
In all
UNELAC.
of this, you didn't mention your husband again.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. He's there. He was supportive, but there were some emotional issues, and I was dealing with a lot at that time. They were quite much, so I needed to define what I was dealing with per time. So I wanted to make sure I was fine, my baby was fine, and because I got a lot of support system. My mom was still alive then. My church was supportive. My siblings were super supportive. So I just focused on myself and my baby. I tried as much as possible not to allow any other thing to affect me, because I was very delicate at that time. So I was being careful, whatever hurts, so that it doesn't affect me. Right. So it was like that. And, my marriage was still very young at that time too. So I was in between, should I talk? Should I not talk? Would they believe? Would they not believe? Will it look like I'm not appreciative? So I was in between that space. So that was why I was trying to choose my battles. So I just focused on my daughter and myself. And at that time, I wasn't working. I couldn't work again. So after a while, when I enrolled to do my master's, it was supportive in his own way. It was in his own way. And thank God I did it. And I finished well, to the glory of God. I made a distinction, my master's. And I was happy that at least I could do that. I wanted to do more. I had a lot of aspirations, but there were always issues. I can't count how many times I would want to do something and I would just fall sick. But I didn't give in. I continued. I continued. But it became tougher by the day.
Hmm.
And in 2017, I had to do my first spine surgery. And I did it in Nigeria because I didn't want what happened with my hip
Hmm.
to happen. But I think I made a mistake. I The surgery was done, and I was discharged 10 days post-op, and the place got infected, and my spine started gushing out pus.
Hmm.
It was really bad. It was really bad, and I don't know how I survived it. It was so bad. I was thinking pus was much. It was really bad. The only thing I would say is I'll just mention Jesus, and I'll say Oluwadarasimi. That's my daughter's name. So that was what I was just saying. So for anybody that comes close to me, those were the things I was saying. And one way or the other, when I discovered that the doctor wasn't taking responsibility, after a whole lot that was spent for the surgery, I had to be moved to another hospital. And then they need to take me back into the theater to do a corrective one, my spine, making the number two. It was really tough. And after a while, I was discharged and I went back home. I couldn't do much again. And then in 2019, I took ill again. So it means 2017, I did a surgery. 18 surgery, 19 I had to go to India for endoscopic discectomy, another spine surgery, making the third one. Now, those surgeries were surgeries that I dreaded for years, because anytime I hear spine, I go online to check, and I hear 50-50 chance. Now, the 50 that you will be alive and the 50 that you pass. The 50 that you'll be alive is also a 50-50 chance. 25 that you will be able to walk, and the other one that you will not be able to walk. So I was working with a 25%. And thank God to my support system, the prayers, the support was very good. I couldn't have done anything without them, really, because there were lots of vulnerable moments, there were lots of fragile times, and I didn't even know what was happening. I know I was just living. So after that surgery, I returned back home, and then my mom passed. That was in 2019. So that was a lot of blow, a lot of things, a lot. And while I was still trying to recuperate, to get over my late mom's death and all that, it was COVID. That was 2020. My implants that I had carried for 14 years gave way, and they needed to do another surgery. And I couldn't travel, I couldn't raise money. There was nothing I could do. I was there. I couldn't bear weight on the leg. I didn't know what to do. I was just there. I was scared. My baby was still very young. She was 6 years old, and there were lots of things. But in the midst of so much pain, my elder sister came in. I'm so grateful to God for the gift of her. She came in, and she was the one that rushed to me to Bobby. At that time we couldn't fly, so there was no way, I could travel. It was really tough, very tough. And that was when they removed the implant. That experience was very bad. They said they couldn't do general, they would do epidural. And before they could even secure a central line, I was there for 3 hours. And immediately after they had, done a lot, the surgeon that was going to do the surgery just put me into the wound again to continue the surgery. And it took hours. And because it was epidural that they did, I was awake. I was shivering. I was screaming. Everything they used to remove the implant, I was hearing them. The hammer, the chisel, the saw. There were lots of noise. A lot was going on, and right under there, I didn't know what was happening, because a lot was happening. I might not be privileged to say all that I went through inside there, but it was a moment where I was fighting for my life. And I was there. And after long hour, they rolled me out, and I was in tears. And my elder sister, I was like, no, this is strange. This is not a case for surgery. What's going on here? Apparently, a lot happened in there. And post-op was not properly managed. It was really bad. And they said I should return after 6 months for another surgery.
Ew.
Because what they did was they removed the implant and they put an antibiotic spacer there, and said I should return with lots of money after 6 months. So I couldn't bear weight on the leg, and I was discharged. So it was a whole lot, and I went back home. I was fighting. So what's next? How do I get funds? It was really bad. I started asking people for support. I asked for my secondary school mates, a lot of people, anybody. I was just begging them, I need help, I need funds, I need to do surgery and all that. And eventually God did it, and I traveled, and that was meant to be my last surgery.
You traveled to India
India, yes,
again.
again. That was supposed to be my last surgery. I was full of a lot of expectations. I had a lot of expectations. I was anxious. I had a lot of thoughts. Throughout my trip, I could not even wear shoes. I was on socks all through. I was really, really bad. But right inside of me, I had this, I was holding on. I had a lot of strong will that I will be fine. So we got there with a lot of expectations. And after the surgery, when I woke up in the ICU, I was surprised. I woke up to a surprise that they couldn't put an implant in the leg. So what they did was they removed the spacer that was put, that was inserted into it. They cleaned the place, put an antibiotic granules, suture me back and tell me to fly back to Nigeria. No hip, no implants. And I asked why when I became conscious. And doctor said that the way we met that place, there was no way we could put another implant there. The removal was not properly done.
Ah,
So I said, okay. Knowing that I came on, I don't want to say community funds. It wasn't my
well,
money. It
community fund.
wasn't my money. So I was just like, so I'll come, I need to come back again. That was what I was asking. I need to come back again. Said, if you want to work, you need to come back for a surgery. And this time around, it's going to be two. I said, no, okay,
Needs to be two what?
two, because the bones around the leg were already damaged because of the way it was removed. And they needed to put a lot of bone grafting and all that. It was a whole lot, too big to shoot at that moment. But I was full of a lot of expectations. I was looking forward to seeing my daughter, and I know that my daughter wanted to see me work. She also had a lot of expectation. Mom, when you come back, we'll go out, Abby, because we've not been able to do that, and there were lots of thoughts in my mind at that time. So I came back. But before I returned, a lot happened also over there. There was a time I just became breathless, and I had to fight again for me to be sustained. They had to rush me in another land, and after everything, I returned home. And that was when I moved to Ibadan because I could not stay in Lagos again. I could not. There were lots of expectations. I had a lot of hope. I wasn't working. There were issues at home. There were lots of things. And at that time, I was a shadow of myself because I couldn't work. And I had a daughter to take care of. And I could not work. Not that I cannot work, not that my brain isn't working, but physically, I couldn't. I couldn't. And emotionally, too, there was no way. So I returned back to Badon, and my mom wasn't there again, so it was just us. And I was there for 6 months inside the room. Everything I did was there with my daughter that would take care of me. And we're like that fighting. We both fought, and we are still fighting. We fought. I was there. Then after 6 months, I said, okay, I was able to step out of the house. So I noticed that my mom had a shop she had locked. I called some kids around to help me tidy it up. And I was so sad. There were lots of issues. And while I was talking to God, God gave me the story of the widow of Zarephath. That I should bring out my jars and prophesy. So I told my daughter, I said, okay, what we'll do now is all your sweet and your popcorn and your cornflakes, we'll take it to shop. That's where you'll be eating from. So I brought out the jars, washed them, and I put them in the shop there. At that time, that was not what I wanted. That was not what I read for. That was not what I planned for. That was far, far beyond what I wanted. But I had to. I had to survive. I had to take care of my daughter. I had to be sure that she was fine. I had to put her in school. It was really tough. It was tough. It was tough because my mom wasn't around. It was just both of us. It was really tough. And I fought. I fought because I wanted to still walk. I wanted to walk. I wanted to take my daughter out. I had a lot of expectations. So I was fighting for months. I didn't even know. There were moments I would step out of the house without even combing my hair, without wearing anything, and making looking good. I was just looking good was not it that time. It was just survival for us at that time. So it was on and on like that. A lot happened during that time. And I had to raise another fund. This time around, it was like double what I had raised before. And you know the way it was past COVID. A lot of people had lost a lot of money. People were not doing business. Yet God just blessed me with a lot of people. God opened doors and God raised funds for me. And shortly before I traveled, I was very ill and I was taken to a hospital in Ibadan. And before I could say Jack Robinson, I passed out. I passed out for about 3 hours. And they thought I had died. And my daughter was just there alone. So when I woke up, I saw my elder sister in front of me. And this was the person I was speaking with when I was there. And she was at work in Lagos. I saw that I was soiled. They had suctioned me to bring me back. I was on oxygen and they were taking me to UCH. I don't even know where a lot happened. I was there for about 3 weeks, and after a while, I kept telling them, I need to go for surgery. Please discharge me. I need to go for surgery. So after a while, I was discharged. There are lots of backstories because all those periods, I would just lock myself into worship because I could not define anything at that moment. But the only thing I wanted my daughter to be fine. So I knew she doesn't have anybody else. So I was fighting for her and I was fighting for me. And we fought. And then eventually I was discharged. And then I traveled back to India to do my number 8 surgery.
Number 8. How many times have you been to India, India for surgery?
About maybe 3 times for surgery, 3 times for surgical procedures, maybe 6 times.
6 times to India. You
And
did how many in Nigeria? 2.
I did 3 with my delivery, making 3. No, 4. I did first spine, second spine, and then the hip revision, making the third one, and delivery, making the fourth one. So I I went back.
So that means altogether you have done like 10 surgeries.
8 major surgeries,
Eight.
over 10 surgical procedures.
Over 10.
Surgical procedures. And the last surgery I did was, well, at first it went well, and I was moved to ICU. I was glad that they eventually put the implant, but the doctor said, this your implant is different from the one you carried before and all that. You need to be careful. If anything happens to this one, just know that he cannot walk again. No. That was the way he said it. And about some days after my surgery, I started discharging again. And they said they need to take me back to surgery. I said, and I told them that, me, I don't know about that, oh, but I'm not going back to theater. And secondly, I don't have money. All I have, home and Aswana, everything you guys have collected. There's a limit to what I can get from Nigeria. I don't even have anyone that wants to give me the money. So jokingly, I'll tell them, take me to Nigeria embassy in Mumbai. Let me go and declare. This was my first time coming to India. I came with the money you asked me to come for. It wasn't easy getting it. That's the truth. It was not at all. Well, God gave it to me, and I'm here. And you're telling me, December 2021, Christmas Day, was when the doctor told me, if you want to leave, we need to take you back to theater in 2 days. And it was just myself and my friend that had gone with me. And I didn't have any funds again. And my visa was going to expire. So I was just there. So, but I remember that anytime I would go for dressing, I would just be speaking in tongues. I will make sure that my mouth was moving. I kept speaking the word. And the doctor would tell me, there's no miracle. I don't believe in miracle. We need to take you back to theater and all that. And I told him, I believe in miracle. So I went back to my apartment in India. I'll connect with Dusin Oyeko at 11 o'clock and we'll pray. So there was a day, the word of knowledge came. And he said, there's a woman, he does this surgery, the place is gushing out, blah, blah. God said, you've been healed. I just type it in the comment section, it's me. And that was what God did. And the place started drying up. And when I went back to the hospital about 2 days after, the doctors were surprised. And one of the doctors said, Oyinike, the God you're praying to is answering your prayer. Keep praying to God. And for once, I felt so good that I made God proud. I felt so good that the word of God prevailed. I felt so good that in a land where there are mixed religion, the word of God prevailed. So that gave me a little bit of strength. And I told myself, I said, no going back. I'm going to be fine. He said, at some point, they were even trying to say that we are not sure. If you get to Nigeria and there's issue, come back so that we could remove the implant and then you know that you can't walk with that leg. In my mind, I just kept telling them, that I won't be back. I'll be fine. That I'll be fine. So that's what I kept telling myself. It was tough, and eventually they gave us fit to travel and we returned home. Excuse me, that was in 2022, Abby? Yes, 2022. That was in 2022, January. So we returned home, back to Ibadan, and started managing myself. And it's been tough. It's been tough looking at someone that doesn't want to sit down, having to sit down. It's been tough having to take care of my daughter by myself, and yet I can't walk. It's been tough knowing that my certificates are in my cupboard. 3 good certificates, even 4, because I got chartered in HR.
You got chartered in
HR
HR.
2012, and I couldn't still work with them. I want to do, there are lots of things I want to do to give my daughter the best life I wanted her to have. But the truth of the matter is, it's been very challenging. I am fighting, I've been fighting, and I am still fighting. There were times that I would just look at my mom's picture and I will remember. There's this song she used to sing then when I was young. Anytime I was having that crisis, she would sing, it's a Yoruba song. Ó ń pọ̀nrín wá, ó ń pọ̀nrín yín o. Èébúté ire lọkọ̀ mi rè é. Èébúté ire lọkọ̀ mi rè o. Àtẹ̀rígbó àtẹ̀ríjù. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bu ẹ̀ ń tẹ́mọ̀ rẹ̀ ayé. Àṣẹ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bu ẹ̀ ń tẹ́mọ̀ rẹ̀ ayé. And she would tell me, àtẹ̀yè lẹ́bù ẹ̀ ń tẹ́mọ̀ ẹ̀. Oyinike, you'll be fine. So moments when there is nobody and I have a lot of expectations, basic needs, not extravagant, nothing. I had lost a lot of things. I'd lost a lot. My running from Lagos to Ibadan, I lost a lot of things because I ran for shelter. I ran to be able to give my daughter closure. I ran to give her a good life. And it's been very challenging. And it was in the midst of it that I started compiling my journals because I love to write. I started compiling my journals, and people would tell me, Nike, why don't you combine them? Why don't you write them? Why don't you write a book? People need to hear your story because you have really fought and all that. Elderly people, young people. So in the place of meditation one day, I just had this, session with God. I noticed He was telling me that look at the New Testament. All the things that you're reading in the New Testament were experiences of the early Christians that they documented. That what I have done with your life, Nike, I need you to document it so that a lot of people will be able to get strength from it. Like, lots of people will look at you now, they wouldn't know what you're covering. But you need to let them know there is a God in heaven that hears prayer. You need to let them know that there is Jehovah Jireh. You need to let them know there is Jehovah Rapha. You need to let them know there is Jehovah Nissi. You need to let them know there is Eroi. You need to let them know that there's a God that sees you inside, even when nobody sees you. You need to let them know that if you have dreams, if you have hope, if you have plans, whatever it is you want to do, you need to let them know that they can achieve it. So with that, I got the courage. I wasn't buoyant, but I just, I typed it myself on the laptop, and it kept like that up until I started telling God that I should just provide so I could have the book out. And I came out to Facebook. I spoke to a lot of people, and a lot of people supported me with funds. And then I launched the book. I couldn't do much, but I produced 200, and that's what I've been selling. It's titled The Untold. And even while I was editing it, there were moments I would just stop. And I'll be asking myself, I was writing my story because I was asking myself how I pulled through in some of those experiences. All I have been saying are just summary. There are a lot of in story, backstory, a lot of things. There are lots of things I might not even be able to say here. A lot of things happened to me. I lost myself at some point. I almost slipped into depression. And because I know I'm not lazy, if there's something I need to do and I'm being denied, I feel very bad about it. But as I am like this, there's nothing I don't do. If I need to wash my clothes, I do it myself. If I need to do something, I do it. I'll just get a chair. If I need to go somewhere, I'll go. I am still managing pain. A lot is still happening around me. I came to Lagos some months ago to run some tests, and they were telling me I needed to do another surgery. And I told myself, no, not again. Not again. So I go about with my rod of Moses. I didn't allow it to define me.
So you walk with a rod now?
Yes, walking stick, yes. I can't do long distance without it. I can't stand for long.
You
And
can
that's my spine.
walk.
I can't walk, but maybe I would leap, but I can't do a long distance. I can't do anything rigorous. Mobility is not very comfortable because I'm not mobile, so it's been difficult. I used to be, but I lost it with every other thing. And it's been very challenging having to deal with everything. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful. I am hopeful, and I am grateful to God that I can say the story. I'm grateful to God that it's not being said by someone else. I am grateful to God that I can come out to say it pays to serve God. I'm grateful to God that God has never disappointed me. There are nights, many nights, I will cry to sleep. Many. I have a list of things. I'll just write them in the book and I'll just lay down and sleep. I will just trust that God will just sort it out. Because if you have had to ask people for money severally, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's very demeaning. It's very painful, humiliating.
Humiliating.
And
You lose your confidence at some point.
and even when you gather yourself together, put on a makeup, wear a good dress, nobody wants to know. They will judge you. Is this person that is asking for money? This one like this. If I'm like this, my own life is better. So it's at some point I was in the middle of that. Should I now go all dull because I am going through it? how will I ask people for funds to help me when I am not lazy? So in between, it's been quite challenging, it's
Okay.
been quite demanding, and psychologically as well, when you know there are things you could just do by yourself and without announcing it to anybody, and then you have to announce it because you need support.
But
So that's where I am right now, but I am hopeful.
it is well with you, man.
Amen. Thank you.
Um. Okay. I'll ask her a few questions so we know where to go from there or how to go from there.
Okay.
But number, let me ask you first. What have you learned from your story? What has life taught you as a person?
Okay. Thank you. I have learned a lot. At first, I have learned to trust God.
Mm-hmm.
I used to tell people that I don't know what my story would be if I wasn't a born again Christian, because that is where I have gotten my source of strength.
Strength. Yeah.
I have also learned to have good character.
Mm.
I I am grateful to God that when I had the opportunity to do, I did. And I don't disrespect anyone. Now, the reason why I said that was I have had a lot of down moments, times where there was no way I could pull anything. There was no way. And what stood out for me was, kò gbọdọ̀ jẹ́ níkẹ́. What stood out for me shouldn't be Nike. Whatever Nike needs, we'll give her. If there are lots of people that has blessed me that I don't know them, but it's probably be somebody putting a word about me to them, and then I'll just get the support. So I believe strongly that if I had not maintained a good relationship with them, I'm not sure they would have gone extra mile to actually do what they did or what they are still doing at the moment. And I've also learned not to give up, irrespective. Now, when I started my story, I did mention that from secondary school, and I did mention about the school of cosmetology. I could have stopped at that moment. When my mom said I wasn't going to go to school, it was out of love. I could have stopped at that moment still. When I went to LASU and it was looking like I wasn't going to graduate, I could have just stopped at that moment. And afterwards, I could have stopped, but I didn't stop. So I believe strongly that as long as your life, you should give your life an essence, and then you keep pushing, irrespective. Just do your will. That's what I've learned. That Nika, just keep doing it. Just keep doing
Just
it.
keep
So,
doing. Hmm. Regardless, don't give up. Okay. Miss Oyenike,
yes.
beyond your faith or aside your faith, what do you want? What do you wish for? What are the things that you wish you can do that you're unable to do, or that if you get them now, will put your life in a better shape?
Okay. Thank you. Right now,
Number one, would you still want to do the surgery? Will that make life better? Okay, just go ahead and pour it out.
okay, okay. Let me start from the surgery. When I was told that I might need to do another surgery, the first thing was not even money, as it were. So the first was how, because for from 2020 to 2024, I was on crutches. I just moved to using single stick late 2025, and I can't still do more. So I had to be taken care of for 4 years. So the question is, do I want to go back there? Because there are places I have left that I knew that God had taken me through. And the question is, post surgery, how do I want to manage it? But the truth of the matter is, there's still a lot of pain. And I found myself in between. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I just stay I got opinions from three different surgeons, and they are saying the same thing, that I needed to do another surgery. But at the moment, I just felt that, how will I do? I have that stamina to go in for another surgery again, and it's a major one this time around. Do I have the stamina to do it? That is a question I haven't answered. Secondly, where do I get the funds from? How do I get the funds? How do I go back and start begging people again? I need to do surgery, considering the dollar exchange rate right now, looking at what I had done before.
Like, how much is this surgery now?
At the moment, I have not gotten a costing done to it, but I have gotten opinions of three main surgeons that I need to do the surgery. But I have not given them my word that I want to do it. So how much is it going to cost?
On the average?
Okay, looking at the last surgery I did, looking at the estimate and what it is right now, I might be talking about a 25, $30,000 or
Wow.
even more, because the last one I did was about that amount. And so right now, if I don't want to talk about the exchange rate, I'll be talking. If I'm saying about $30,000, I'm not sure I'm making any mistake. If I want to go by what I did the last surgery that was done, and it was a fund that was raised for it, right? However, there are still, I believe strongly that before going for surgery, there are a lot of other things I probably still need to do while I am trying to check and plan and prepare myself mentally for the surgery.
Yes.
I had to go, I am on a lot of medications that is where right now. I I wake up with pain every day. That's the truth. Today was not an exception. And I had to take a lot of pain medications. Mobility is quite challenging for me. It's difficult for me to move around because I'm not mobile. And I used to be, but I am not right now. And that is also putting a strain on me because of my lifestyle and my health. There are places that I couldn't really do a lot of what I find myself. So I believe that before I could say, I as much as I want to do the surgery, I can't do that type of surgery and will not have a better lifestyle.
Okay.
Take for instance.
What's your priority now? What and what come first for you? What comes first for you?
Okay, right now, what comes first for me will be survival and a good lifestyle that will enable me to manage myself and then prepare to do the surgery. When I mean lifestyle, I mean support system to take care of myself because I can't work, to get medications, to probably put in my business to be able to feed on a daily basis, something like that. And
Work wise, what can you do?
anything intellectual is fine. In my own space, I give people tutorials. I take courses. Presently, I'm giving tutorials on HR analytics and metrics. I help people write projects. I supervise them. I counsel. I do some short trainings within my space. And after I published my book, I take it to school, talk to young ones. So for me, intellectually, I can still do a lot because I still write. I still write. So I can still do a lot and I want to still do a lot. I had always wanted to still go for my PhD, but I still have that in mind still. But while I am working on that journey, I am exercising my mind and I am still doing. I could do a lot of intellectual assignments. It's just that I couldn't do physical or had to sit for long in a place or confined to a place and all that.
I I want to know okay, so let's talk about your book. Please lift the book. Okay. So this is the book The Untold. All right. How much are you selling this book?
A copy is 7,500.
7,500. How many have you been able to sell?
Um, the first production was 200 copies, and we sold 180. I have 20 left right now. and I want to produce more. So I'm talking to the publisher about producing more. So I wanted to do more initially, but because of the funds,
Yeah.
so I limited to what I had and I could afford at that moment. So that's why I produced. But I still want to do more because I want it to go out and I want it to get into a lot of hands.
Okay, so coming on this show, one of the reasons is because you want people to hear your story, and then we all have expectations, you know. What do you want? What are your expectations?
Wow. My
Or
expect
what do you propose in your heart that, or if I can get this done, if I have this, if I have this, if I have that?
okay. At first, I want to be healthy, and that means that I need to get my medications because they are much, and do a lot of consulting because I mean consultations, go to doctor, do some treatment, palliative treatments, while I plan to do the surgery. Because of the way the pain is at the moment, I know I will have to do the surgery, so I need support to do the surgery, and also need to have a better lifestyle. Like I need to be mobile. It's difficult moving around, and there are places I want to go that I would love to go, places I want to be that I can't when I look at the difficulty in moving around. My mind wants to do, but my body is not able to do that far. So I need support with respect to that and support with respect to my business. At the moment, I run a small shop. Is very meaning just within the estate, and I would love if I can do it on a much bigger scale. And the reason is I want to earn money so I can have a good life. I don't want to have to look for people and start asking for support. I believe that if my business is doing very well, if if my shop is doing very well and I could make a lot of sales from it, I believe that I'll be able to take care of myself and take care of my daughter while I pursue other things I want to do in the course of time.
Okay. Okay. Um God will do much more as you have proposed in your heart.
Amen.
Guys, family, friends, talk to be family. It's another time. People have different stories. One thing I've learned is if you're in a position to help people, if you're in a position to do things for people, do not judge them. Life happens. What's our offense now? What has she done? Most of the times where we have this kind of cases is actually maybe the person is sickle cell patient and all, and then we could blame the parents for, oh, you didn't do your genotype, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, see what you have caused. But her genotype is AA, so what's her offense? A first class graduate who who is also chartered in HR, who has all this, and yet she's confined to just be in a position. Her story touched me so much that, you know, I wish I have all the answers myself. But hey, here we are. Our intention was not to come here to beg or anything. She just wanted to share a story. This is one way you can support her. Please get a book. If how do they get this book? How can we order if we want to?
Okay. I have some copies in Lagos for my brother.
Okay.
And I also have in Ibadan. But for any request, they can call my mobile number, send me a WhatsApp call, a WhatsApp
Okay,
message,
please call your mobile number.
080
080 335
400
400
95
95
00
00
335
335
400
400
95.
95. Okay, so what about the people in diaspora?
I have a soft copy.
Okay, I
It's on
wanted to ask.
Amazon
Oh,
and
good,
it's also on Seller.
good.
So if you'd go to Google and just put The Untold by Oyinike Adebiyi, it will bring out the link for all the that for Seller and for Amazon.
Fantastic. This is one way you can help. Please, let's order this book. Let's spread the news. Let someone read it. Let someone learn from this. Another way is to please. I'm going to be calling out our account details. Whatever you can put, whatever you can sow into our life, just to make this life better. If you're not even doing it because of her, but because of our daughter. Imagine if this kind of a person have a good business, have a good life, how much she's going to impact on that girl. We have done it before. By the grace of God, we will do it again with your help. Please call out your account details, ma'am.
Um, my GT account is 000
Triple zero
249
249
65
65
14
14
000
triple zero
249
249
65
65.
14 Oyinike Adebiyi GTB account.
That's a GTB account. Some people find themselves in situations where it's beyond their control. It's not because they wish, it's not because they want to, but life, life. The things that you can do freely is what another person is willing, and they just see you walk by them and they just wish that I wish I can just walk freely like this. Thank God, ma'am, your situation is not worse. And like you also believe it is not over and your story is not going to be over soon. It's just a phase, it will pass. By God's grace, God will put an end to it shortly.
Amen.
Whatever He's going to do, He that has sustained you all this while with everything around, with all the hopeless situation, who has given you hope, who has helped you thus far. He will not leave you here. I'm trusting God for you that by this time next year, your story would have changed for good. It
Amen.
would have changed for the best. And you will look back and say that this is me in this short period after all these years. I have seen it happen. It has happened on this show before. I've seen people come back to testify. I've seen people live the kind of life that they never thought they would live in just within just a short period of time. And I pray by the grace of God that yours will not be an exception. Thank you for holding on. Thank you for all the untold stories. Thank you for the strength. It was a lot. Going through all those surgeries, going through all that. I can imagine the pain. I am trying to reason beyond what you're saying, but I know the one who has all the strength will continue to strengthen you. You will never have to walk alone because God will always be there for you. All right. Have you seen a therapist before? Have you been able to, like sit with a counselor on I know what you know, right? But sometimes you need to pour it out with somebody also. Have you seen a therapist? Should we introduce you to one?
Well, um,
I know you are
counsel of
one yourself.
the counsel of many is wisdom,
Yeah.
and nobody knows it all.
Yes.
I am very open to counsel, so I have seen quite a number.
Okay, good.
But if if there's going to be one more, I'm sure it's not too much.
I
There
understand
probably was something I will get from it.
from it.
So I
Okay.
can't close the door to counsel.
Okay, that's fine. We'll usually have one or two on the show that would want to talk to you, but I want you to put your mind at rest and continue to trust God. If there's one thing that I've learned in the journey of my life is how to trust God, and He has never failed me. I have seen Him come through for me. So if I don't believe anything, if I don't have anything, if it seems like all hope is lost, if it seems like nothing is working, I just have this belief. If that's all the gift that I've gotten, I just know that this God, He will show up for me. This God, He will never let me down. And He has never. So it's a great gift. Please keep trusting Him. I am sure that your story will change for good. And Darasimi, I want you to know that mommy loves you. We love you, and we are praying that if you're out there, whatever you can do, you have a car that you want to give her for mobility sake to just ease the stress, please contact us. If you also want to sponsor Darasimi's education to make it easier for the mom, please contact us. You want to take care of the hospital bills, the surgery, please contact us. Contact us. We need your support. We need your help to make this life stable and better again. I trust God and I trust you as well. I know God would use you like He's been using you before. All right, ma'am. Before I go, this this token is for
Wow.
you to say thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very
It's
much.
just our
I'm
tradition.
grateful.
You're welcome. And then we also have this small gift for you.
Ooh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
God bless you.
Amen. And God bless you too.
Thank you very much.
All right, family, this is where I'll be saying goodbye. I am coming back here to testify, to tell you how amazing you have been and you are also doing with Oyenike. Please, guys, do not let me down. Whatever we can do to make this life better, let's do it again. My take home today will be of good character, because at a time that you cannot speak for yourself, those characters will be speaking for you. And again, regardless of the situation, do not give up. This is a story of someone who has not given up on ourselves. Here she is now. She still needs help, yes, but because there is life, there is hope. I'll see you again same time next week on the same channel. My name is Abiola Adiba. You can call me Dr. B. In whatever thing you're doing, put God first, be determined, and stay focused. I'll see you next week. God bless you. Bye.
Talk to be, share your experience.